A man has gone on trial accused of murdering his former wife.
His Majesty's advocate against Christopher Merlin Harnett Harrison. Have a seat.
The body of 32-year-old Dr. Brenda Paige was found in her flat in July 1978.
She had been struck on the face and head at least 20 times by a blunt instrument.
The first time I knew that he had hurt her, it was caused by a book being thrown at her.
The jury have to ask themselves, do they think that this was an ongoing abusive relationship? And I will suggest that it was.
The defence position is that none of this is true.
She told you, but you never saw anything yourself.
No.
Dr. Harrison's position is that Dr. Paige wanted out of the marriage and concocted disclosures of domestic abuse.
She said if he killed her, he would do it so that nobody would know.
So, if I do depart this earth, do please make sure I get a good PM.
Post-mortem. She's in fear of her life.
You said she had another job. Did you have any concerns about that job?
It was an escort agency, and I was concerned about what might be required of her after the meal.
There is the possibility of there being somebody else who has a grudge against her.
As far as I can see, there's only one person fits that bill, and that's Dr. Harrison. There's no doubt this is a difficult case, and the challenge is being able to present a coherent picture of what happened.
From a defence point of view, Dr. Harrison claims he cannot be the perpetrator because at the time the offence was committed, he was not there, he was at home.
Court.
As part of building the picture, it's important to, where we can, lead evidence of the movements of Dr. Brenda Paige in the hours leading up to her death. In 1978, did you have employment at the Treetops Hotel, Springfield Road in Aberdeen?
Yes, I did.
What was the nature of the work that you did?
I was a hotel receptionist.
Did you become aware of the death of a lady called Brenda Paige?
I did, yes.
How did you learn of that?
I think it was the following day. Police came to the hotel and interviewed the staff who had been on duty the evening before.
Okay, I'm going to show you an image on the screen. Do you recognise that person?
Yes, I do.
Who is that?
Dr. Paige.
Did you see that lady that night?
I did, yes.
Where was she when you saw her?
She was sitting at a table between the reception desk and the door into the restaurant.
Was she with anyone?
She was with two gentlemen.
I'd like to look at a document, please. Does it say this? About 11:15 p.m, I noticed three people sitting in the foyer at a table, and I particularly noticed the woman. Did you say that to the police?
I did, yes.
From what you could tell, did it appear to be a fairly congenial meeting?
Yes, the guests we had in the hotel were often business people,
yeah.
So it was more like colleagues, it seemed to me.
All right, thank you.
Do you still have that document in front of you?
I do.
It appears perhaps from that the two males were residents at the hotel.
Yes, that's what it implies.
At that time, was it known amongst the staff in the hotel that oil men would hire people from escort agencies to attend the Treetops Hotel?
It wasn't known to me.
It wasn't known to you. Thank you very much.
On the night of the offence, we know that Dr. Brenda Paige was involved in her other employment. There were other people she was seeing who could potentially have been responsible for the crime.
Christopher Harrison maintained he was at home, and only he can speak to that. He didn't have anyone in the house to speak to that. But he doesn't need to prove that. He doesn't need to establish his alibi. The Crown has to meet it. In other words, demonstrate that it's not right. And we do that through the evidence. Are you James Alexander?
I am.
What was your occupation?
I was a taxi driver.
On Thursday, 13th July 1978, did you receive a call to go to the Treetops Hotel?
I did, yes.
What time do you think it was?
12:30 maybe.
As you did that, did you notice a vehicle in particular?
Well, I was standing beside my car and I just happened to notice a Mini Countryman.
Mini Countryman?
Estate sort of thing or whatever.
Right. Was there anything about it that attracted your attention?
It just looked pretty rough.
What do you mean by that?
I mean a bit of a paint to the woodwork and that.
I'd like you to look, please, at two photographs of a vehicle there. Does that look anything like the vehicle you saw?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Was there any person in the car?
No.
Did you later return to the Treetops Hotel?
I did, yeah.
How soon after that would that be?
Oh, at least an hour or maybe a wee bit longer.
Right, okay. Did you notice if that car was still there?
I did. The car was gone.
The car was gone?
Yep.
Right, okay. Thank you very much.
So the indication is that Christopher Harrison was stalking Brenda and seeing what she was up to, and we believe that obviously he was aware of her second job. This is actually coming into the Treetops Hotel, although the Treetops Hotel is now no more. Yeah, I mean, back in 1978, the hotel would have been one of the main hotels in Aberdeen, and was so for many, many years, but it obviously had its day and is now knocked down. This is where Brenda spent her last evening in this world before she was brutally murdered. The story about her working as an escort was huge for the media in Aberdeen and played into a narrative that really wasn't there. The seedy side of it was portrayed in the paper, of this professional woman who was the head of genetics at Aberdeen University, but by night she was an escort, and it wasn't fair on the family either, because the family knew that's not what it was. In reality, Brenda was looking for company and, you know, to make some extra money. From a police perspective, that did make things harder. The gentleman that she was with that evening had to be obviously eliminated, which was quite easy to do, because being quite a large hotel in Aberdeen, they were easily alibied and were known not to have left the hotel at the time she did. If Christopher did attend here, and we obviously believe he did, he would have seen Brenda, his ex-wife, having a meal with two gentlemen. I can only imagine that would have enraged him.
There is no direct evidence which would put Dr. Christopher Harrison in the flat at the time when Brenda met her death. So the challenge for me is to identify evidence from which the jury could draw the inference that he was there and was responsible. The point of entry was the window at the end of the extension. It was a small bedroom. Dr. Harrison's scientific knowledge may well cause him to be forensically aware. That would certainly be untypical of murders in the 1970s, and on one view it would be certainly an advantage. But there is a principle in forensic science that every contact leaves a trace. On Friday the 14th of July 1978, did you receive a call to attend at the scene of a death of a lady called Brenda Paige?
Yes.
I'm going to put a photograph which, I give warning, does show the bed with blood staining. When you saw that bedroom, you saw a person there, is that correct?
Yes.
And just describe the circumstances for us, please.
Brenda Paige was lying crosswise on the bed, hands something like this, and long hair was down over her face, absolutely matted with blood.
Thank you. Could you look, please, at photograph 15, please? Do you recognise that?
Yes, that's the point of entry.
Did you take samples of anything from this room in photograph 15?
I took a vacuum extract from the inside ledge of the window and from all the carpet area immediately inside the window.
Explain that for us, please.
Well, basically, you've got a vacuum cleaner. The difference being that at the nozzle end, you have a little chamber. You put a filter paper in onto a metal grid, and you simply vacuumed up the evidence that you wanted to retrieve.
What did you find?
Well, the one thing that I can certainly recall, because it seemed quite important, was a tiny flake of green paint with 4 layers, which looked identical to the one recovered from the footwell of Mr. Harrison's car.
What was your conclusion?
They were indistinguishable. All this being done under the microscope, of course.
Yes. Could that be explained by it being deposited if someone climbed through that window and had such a paint flake on their clothing?
Absolutely.
Right, thank you very much.
Mr. Jensen, the ladies and gentlemen will be familiar these days with the various television programmes that we see where we have forensic scientists all dressed up in the forensic suits.
Yes.
That's not where we were in 1978, is that correct?
Correct, sir.
And when you went into Allen Street, you would be wearing a white lab coat, is that right?
Yes.
Gloves?
We would have disposable gloves depending on what we were expected to handle.
In this particular case, though, you were retrieving duvets and quilts and sheets.
Yes, and if they were bloody, I'd be wearing gloves.
Mm-hmm. And having taken, for example, the pillowcase, what would you then do?
Put it into a bag.
Having packaged it, moving on to the next item, what would you do then?
One would need another bag.
What about changing your gloves?
No, one wouldn't change the glove.
No. So how did you avoid cross-contamination from one item to another?
That wouldn't be relevant in my view.
Well,
at one scene.
Just answer my question at the moment. How would you avoid cross-contamination between one item and another?
The gloves could well transfer, but you would not then want to leave bloody glove prints on the next item. So clearly you would change your gloves.
You told me you wouldn't.
You were talking generally.
Do you remember changing your gloves in this case?
I don't even recall if I was wearing gloves.
So you might not have been even wearing gloves?
I do not recall. If it was bloody bedding, I probably was wearing gloves.
So far as the motor vehicle is concerned, nowadays, as I understand it, the police would get a vehicle recovery company to collect the vehicle and take it back to the police station for examination. You drove the vehicle?
Correct.
What would stop you taking debris into the car.
That would have been possible.
Thank you very much.
The reason why the Crown are seeking to use these, on one view, somewhat less important strands of evidence are because there is no evidence which categorically puts him in the house at the time of the event.
So with that, thank you again for your attendance, your attention today. You should continue to keep an open mind at this stage until you've heard all of the evidence. Thank you. Court.
It's such a strange feeling coming to court and the guy who is accused of murdering Auntie Brenda is there walking amongst us. He's just there, you know, and that is a really hard feeling, to be honest with you.
And nothing prepares you for that moment when you see him, does it?
It doesn't.
We thought we were prepared.
He's so different from what I remember him, but he looks so old. In other words, it makes you think what Brenda would be like now. I don't know, it's... I couldn't see my mum going through this. You know, that must be atrocious.
Especially the forensic evidence is harrowing, isn't it? The prosecution who lay out the evidence and you think that's so definite, and then the defence counsel comes in and then their job is to put confusion and doubt and, oh, are the jury going to believe that? And I don't envy the juror's position at all.
I think if this crime had been committed last month, then the investigation would have been different. But we do have evidence available now, which was not necessarily available in the 1970s.
Advocate Deputy.
Thank you, my lord. The next witness is Crown Witness number 40. Up until now, the evidence of the domestic abuse has come from Dr. Brenda Paige, but there is other evidence. There's evidence from something that Dr. Harrison said. What were the circumstances surrounding your first meeting with Kit Harrison?
Kit was a friend of my husband. They shared many interests, such as book collecting, classical music, gardening.
Did you later learn of the death of Brenda Paige?
Yes.
How did you learn of that?
The headline news in the newspaper was about her murder.
Did that information cause you to reflect on anything which had occurred?
Yes.
What was that?
Kit had phoned me either the day before or the day before that.
Tell us about the call.
He said he was going to kill her.
Did you speak with him on the phone?
Yes. It was me he called.
Yeah. And what did he want?
He phoned to tell me that Brenda she'd stolen his research, taken all the credit for it. He was very angry and he was going to kill her. And I said, calm down and don't be so vindictive.
Did you take that seriously at the time?
Yeah. It never occurred to me that he would do it.
How soon after that conversation was it that Brenda was found dead, do you know?
It was within 2 days of the phone call.
Did you tell the police about this conversation with the threat to kill?
Yes.
Are you clear about that in your own mind?
Yes.
That you told the police?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. McConaughey.
Well, Mrs. Christie, let's explore that a bit further. When you found out that Brenda Paige was dead, the sole purpose of you speaking to the police was to tell them about the conversation you'd had with Kit Harrison where he threatened to kill Brenda Paige?
Yes.
We'll look at your statement in a moment, but that statement doesn't mention that at all.
I know that the police, they were very young and frankly incompetent.
Well, they might have been very young, but presumably they could write down what you said.
Yes.
They would understand, you would imagine, that they were investigating a murder.
Yes.
And that evidence about someone having threatened to kill the victim would be pretty important. But somehow or other, the police didn't manage to commit that to paper.
That's right.
It's remarkable, is it not?
No, that's absolutely true.
It's preposterous.
Ma, I'm sorry, but that's what happened.
It's not until the 17th of March 2015, 37 years later, that you say anything about it.
Why would I want to make up something like this?
Because you decided that Kit Harrison was responsible.
No, he was a friend. I didn't want him to be responsible.
The idea that he called you the night before the murder and threatened his soon-to-be dead ex-wife is simply a lie.
No, it is not.
Thank you.
Time has an effect, but it is important for confidence in our system that people realise we don't give up on unresolved homicides. We will investigate them, and where, as has happened, modern day techniques provide the evidence which may have been lacking in earlier times, we will bring cases. And there are some modern components which I hope will be regarded by the jury as significant. On Tuesday the 17th of March 2020, did you commence duty at 7 in the morning?
I did, yes.
Were you given a briefing on that occasion?
I was, yeah.
What was that briefing in relation to?
The apprehension of a Mr. Christopher Harrison.
Were the proceedings recorded?
They were.
Mr. Harrison, it's the police. Can you come to the door, please?
And after some attempts, were you able to speak with Mr. Harrison?
After some attempts, yes, we had to force entry to the address.
Was he told of the purpose of the police visit?
Yes, he was.
And what was said to him?
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. We're the police, we've got a warrant, okay? For the address, to search the address, okay?
For what?
It's in relation to the murder of Brenda Paige.
She wasn't murdered yet.
Listen, we have a warrant for the
Was he transported to a police office?
He was.
Was it intended to conduct an interview with him?
Yes.
Were you the lead officer in the interview?
I was, yes.
I'm not going to go through all of the interview, so there are certain parts which I'm going to play.
Okay, Mr. Harrison. Could you tell me about your ex-wife, Brenda Paige? How did you meet her?
No comment.
What kind of person was she?
Lovely.
And what kind of person are you?
Ugly.
How would you describe the relationship that you had with Brenda?
Mostly good.
Did you and Brenda argue?
No.
How would you describe your temper, Mr. Harrison?
Even.
And what do you mean by that?
Like the snow in Good King Wenceslas.
Pardon?
Like the snow in Good King Wenceslas.
Okay. So would you say you have a temper?
No.
Could we take that off the screen just for a moment while I align it to the next part? Thank you.
Describe your sexual relationship with Brenda. No. Did you have sex? Yes. Often? No comment. Did you have sex at 13 Allen Street? No, I didn't. You sure? Absolutely certain. Did you ever ejaculate at 13 Allen Street? No comment.
Now, Detective Sergeant, do you recognise that interview that we've just played?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Thank you very much. Sometimes evidence will be led which might not seem important at the time, but will have a great significance later when that is looked at in the context of the whole case. Were you asked to conduct some work in relation to the reinvestigation of the death of the late Brenda Paige?
I was.
Were you able to come to a conclusion as to what may have happened?
I was.
Could you turn to page 96 of your report, please? And you see a heading there that says Scene and Blood Pattern Interpretation.
I do.
Could you read that for us very slowly, please?
Certainly. In our opinion, the deceased had been forcibly struck multiple times to the head whilst in approximately the position in which she was found on the bed. For at least some of this assault, the deceased was sat upright at the edge of the bed rather than lying back as she was found. A trail of occasional blood smears and stains elsewhere in the deceased's flat appears to point to the assailant having left via the front door after the assault.
Could it be the case that a person with an instrument of some type strikes an object wet with blood repeatedly, but would never have any blood on the striker?
It's certainly possible, and we simulate just that in our training courses and demonstrate that that is quite a realistic prospect.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Gannicliffe, you were asked a question as to whether it was theoretically possible that there could be repeated blows by someone with a weapon who would not have blood on them. And I think you said that was a realistic possibility?
It's certainly possible, but obviously the greater the number of impacts, then the greater the likelihood that they will receive some spatter.
Yeah, but in this case, I think, we can perhaps go further and say that whether it's theoretically possible or not, it doesn't seem to be what's happened here, because there was blood staining on, I think, an internal door handle and on the inside and outside of the front door.
That's right.
And what makes sense from that is that the assailant had blood on his or her hands when they did so.
Yes.
One of the reasons, therefore, presumably, that you would be asked to look at Dr. Harrison's car would be that if he had used that car to drive away from the scene, there was a chance that he could have left blood on the door handle of his car, steering wheel of his car, gear stick of his car, anything of that nature.
Yes.
And am I right in saying there was no evidence of that?
Yes.
The challenge in a circumstantial case is, of course, the jury have to be with me in the invitation I make to them to draw the inferences of guilt. And I always have a concern that a jury might look at individual bits and decide that that doesn't really mean very much and then cast it aside, whereas I urge them to look at the case as a whole. The relationship, the nature of the relationship, the escalating behaviour, the point of entry, the murder scene, and then we come to the evidence on the bedsheet, DNA. And the modern techniques of DNA investigation was a fairly decisive factor in the decision to bring this case after so many decades. Could we have production 75, a book of photographs photograph number 1, please, on the screen. Thank you. Now, could you take us through that, please?
Yes. Microscopic examination detected large amounts of cellular material together with traces of sperm. The sperm fraction was analysed and the partial profile obtained matched the profile of Christopher Harrison.
Could you read the final paragraph on page 16 slowly, please?
In summary, no DNA attributable to anyone other than Christopher Harrison or Brenda Paige was detected in any of the samples tested and detailed in this report.
Right. Thank you. Dr. Harrison made it abundantly clear that no sexual encounter of any kind took place in Dr. Brenda Paige's flat, and yet we have evidence on the bedsheet of sperm. The jury would be entitled to conclude that what he said to the police is untrue. Now, that of itself doesn't prove the case against him, but what it does do, I would suspect, is to cause the jury to doubt anything he said.
Mr. McConaughey.
Yep.
Sperm can survive washing.
Yes.
Insofar as that stain is concerned, is there any time frame as to when that stain came to the sheet?
No.
How long that sperm had been there, not possible to tell.
Yes.
Does the length of time, potentially, that a stain has been present determine how easy or how difficult it is to obtain a DNA profile?
It depends how it's stored. DNA can be extracted from things that are thousands of years old.
Did you say thousands of years old?
Yes, from archaeology, there's examples of this.
Okay. Mr. Gibb, thank you very much for your assistance. Sometimes forensics do provide the smoking gun in a case. In this particular case, they're not the smoking gun.
How could that be? How could the sperm be there if he said they never had any kind of sexual encounter in the flat? That's a question that cries out for an answer. The only person who could answer that is Dr. Harrison.
Now, Advocate Edmund.
Thank you, my lord. I close the Crown case.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you've now heard all the evidence that you're going to hear on the part of the Crown. So at this point, I will turn to Mr. McConaughey. Mr. McConaughey.
My lord, at this stage, I do wonder whether there's something of a natural break and we start the defence case tomorrow morning. And I would invite your lordship to at least consider that as a possibility.
Thank you, Mr. McConaughey. With that, ladies and gentlemen, may I wish you a good afternoon and look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Thank you very much.
I was hoping that they would have definite proof, because again and again, all through the years, we kept getting little flurries of interest. As the DNA advanced, they did try, and we're so grateful for that. But you don't take anything for granted, do you? You just hope that eventually something will come of it. I've missed her for such a long time. There's a picture of us there at a wedding. There's Mother in the middle and Brenda one side and me the other, and I think, well, that was a nice trio and we did things together. It's just an empty space.
Dr. Harrison is in the same position as every other accused. He is perfectly entitled to sit in the dock and never speak to the jury. And there are many cases where the accused never does give evidence and just effectively puts the Crown case to the test.
Court,
prosecutor is not entitled to know whether the accused is going to give evidence or not. So I have to be ready if he does give evidence. And you're very conscious that everyone will be waiting on this moment with some anticipation.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Mr. McConaughey.
Yes, Lord, this is a case in which the defence will lead evidence and I'd call the accused.
Now, Dr. Harrison, would you take the oath or would you prefer to affirm?
Affirm.
Would you repeat after me? I solemnly, sincerely and truly...
I solemnly, sincerely and truly...
declare and affirm...
declare and affirm...
that I will tell the truth...
that I will tell the truth...
the whole truth...
the whole truth...
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
Thank you. If you would prefer to sit, Dr. Harrison, please do so.
Could you tell the court your full name, please?
Christopher Merlin Harnett Harrison.
Where were you born?
My father was on tank exercises during the war, and I was born in Ripon in 1940. During the Blitz, we had a different address almost every 2 weeks.
Eventually, did you go to university?
I did. I went to Queen's College, Cambridge.
And what did you do after that?
After that, I was asked to become a tutor in biology at Harvard in the United States.
When did you and Brenda Paige decide to get married?
We decided to get married in May of 1972.
How did the marriage go so far as you were concerned?
Happy.
Did you and Brenda Paige want to have a family?
We did. We wanted to have children. On her birthday in 1973, she gave me a book of photographs entitled Baby Animals, and I got the hint she was wanting to have children.
Now, evidence has been led from a variety of people who have said that Brenda effectively told them you were physically violent towards her.
I was never physically violent to Brenda Paige on any occasion. She started making up these stories to provide grounds for a divorce because she said that I was a failure, and by that she meant I was a failure in not having produced children with her.
Were you aware of the fact that she was telling people that you had been violent towards her?
Not really. Somebody said to me, "You're not at all like the pictures you're described as. You're kind and loving and gentle, and yet you're made out to be a monster." And I was rather surprised and taken aback.
Did it become apparent to you that the marriage was in difficulty?
Well, it was, because Brenda desperately wanted to have children.
In the time after your separation, did you become aware of the fact that Brenda Paige had joined an escort agency?
She told me that she had joined an escort agency, but after her divorce she was entirely free to do whatever she liked.
Was that something which concerned you?
The risks of contracting some unpleasant disease are relatively high.
The ladies and gentlemen have heard evidence about the fact that sperm belonging to you potentially was found on bedding at 13 Allen Street.
Brenda Paige had a large quantity of linen given to her by her mother, who was a housekeeper at a hotel. And during the time that we were trying to have a baby, we had marital relations on a variety of sheets. And if you have a large number of sheets, say there are more than 50 sheets, they're not going to be washed in a short space of time.
And the bedding having gone from Mile End Place to Allen Street?
That's right.
On the late evening of the 13th of July into the early hours of the 14th of July, Did you climb into Brenda Paige's house?
I did not.
Did you hide somewhere and wait for her?
Certainly not.
Did you attack her?
No, I did not.
Did you kill her?
No.
Dr. Harrison, thank you very much. If you just remain where you are, I'm sure there'll be more questions for you.
If the jury believe the accused, they acquit him. But I did decide, in anticipation of Dr. Harrison giving evidence, that there were some questions that I might want to put to him which I didn't lead in the Crown case. Dr. Harrison, are you familiar with the tale of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde?
I am.
Dr. Jekyll, a well-respected and intelligent scientist who had a darker alter ego who didn't accept responsibility for his crimes and ways. That was the tale, wasn't it?
That was the tale.
That description sums you up very well, doesn't it?
Not at all.
On the one hand, you can be a kind and considerate man, but on other occasions, a violent and aggressive man.
I'm a kind and considerate man.
You have a violent temper which in the past caused rages of which Brenda was afraid. Is that not true?
It is not.
Could you have before you, please, Crown Production number 49?
Thank you.
Do you recognise that as a letter written by you?
I do.
And is it dated the 11th of February 1978?
It is.
Could you turn to the second page? Now, do you see a paragraph there that begins, "If only I"?
I'm with you.
Could you read that out for us, please?
If only I could share my life with someone who not only understood this, but was prepared to be gentle and sympathetic with my frozen stupidity, the cure would have been complete. I should be a whole person for the first time since the age of about 11. It is bottling things up that causes my acute inner griefs, and it is that conflict that causes those rages of which you were afraid.
Could you repeat that last sentence, please? That causes.
That causes those rages of which you were afraid.
Thank you. Do you agree that you had rages of which Brenda Paige was afraid?
One has, as a child, model snowstorms in a bottle, and if you shake the bottle, you'll see the storm. Rages can be internal.
Do you agree that you had rages of which Brenda Paige was afraid?
I don't know.
Did you love Brenda Paige?
I did.
When you learned of her work at the escort agency, did you refer to it as her whoring?
I really don't know at this juncture.
Did you accuse her of being a prostitute?
No, I don't think so.
Could you have before you, please, Crown Production 64? Do you recognise that as Brenda's writing?
It is.
It is. Do you recall receiving this letter?
I do.
Yes. Does it say this? In spite of what you constantly accuse, I am no prostitute. Does it say that in the letter?
It says that, but it's not accurate.
Were you not obsessed with her work as an escort?
It didn't concern me in the slightest.
The truth is that you could not stand the thought of her being with another man.
That's not the case at all.
You followed her in her car.
I never followed her on any occasion.
You spotted her in the Treetops Hotel that night, the 13th.
I've never been to the Treetops Hotel.
Your car was spotted there, was it not?
No, it wasn't.
You entered her flat via the window in the extension. You remained in the flat awaiting Brenda Paige's return, didn't you?
I couldn't possibly have done any such thing.
And the rage of which Brenda Paige was so afraid came into effect and you brutally murdered her, didn't you?
Nothing of the kind, no.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Harrison. That concludes your evidence. If you would resume your seat in the dock. Thank you. Ms. McConaughey.
Lord, that concludes the case so far as the defence are concerned.
A retired scientist accused of murdering his ex-wife in 1978 has denied that he was a Jekyll and Hyde character.
The trial was adjourned today and is expected to continue on Tuesday, when the defence and the prosecution will make their closing speeches.
You only get one chance to speak directly to the jury, and I want the jury to be listening. I want the jury to be interested in what I've got to say, because I think a good speech can certainly make a jury think again.
You worry about whether you've led all that you intended to lead, that you've got all the things in place for the case. After the speech, I can't do any more. That's it.
Or
the task is to be persuasive and explain to the jury why they should find the accused guilty.
Have a good day, please.
Thank you, my lord. So, if I depart this earth rather suddenly, please make sure I get a good PM and that my sister or her boys get any benefit. Brenda Paige wrote those words in a letter to her solicitor on the 21st of May 1977, a letter of a death foretold. He could not bear the thought
The
of
standard
any
of
other
proof
being
that the prosecution have to reach is beyond a reasonable doubt. If there is one aspect of this case which causes you to pause, that's the reasonable doubt.
Let's consider then whether this was murder. Whoever did that did not care whether Brenda Paige lived or died. Why so many blows? Why 20? Does that suggest a targeted rage?
If it was Christopher Harrison, he apparently succeeds in getting out of the house, into his car, into his own house, without leaving the singlest minute trace of blood.
The key theme of my address to you, members of the jury, is don't look at evidence in isolation. Look at the evidence as a whole. You heard from Rita Ling, Brenda Paige's older sister, and she was able to tell you that Brenda Paige said the relationship with Kit Harrison was like walking on eggshells. She said he hurt her, and she gave examples such
It's the first of many examples of Brenda Paige telling people just what she wanted them to hear. And it's one of those things. If you say it often enough, people will believe. You set aside what she said and look at what she did, and the two things just don't match.
Dr. Harrison appeared to suggest that the allegations of violent and abusive conduct was all concocted with a view to just getting the divorce. Well, if that's true, what on earth was the purpose for seeking an interdict after the divorce to prevent Kit Harrison from molesting, annoying, or threatening to injure? Why would that be required unless he was?
The Crown have taken 45 years to bring this case to court. They are throwing the kitchen sink at it, whether it's relevant or whether it's not.
I suggest to you that taken as a whole, there is a compelling and convincing case, and that the just verdict is for you to find Christopher Harrison guilty
In due course, this case passes to you. Do not, ladies and gentlemen, convict on this hodgepodge of gossip, innuendo, and what now would probably be called fake news. Whether, ladies and gentlemen, you decide this evidence is deeply unsatisfying, or whether you just don't know, the just result here is a verdict that acquits Dr. Harrison.
Well now, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm minded to do is to adjourn now and for us to sit again at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, at which point I will give you my final legal direction. Thank you very much.
I don't know how you feel now about which way you feel it will go.
I don't know. Listening to his defence, I just hope it hasn't stuck with all the jury members.
I think there is evidence which would allow the jury to come to the conclusion that the prosecution have simply failed to prove their case. I sought to give the jury in my speech reasons based on the evidence as to why they would have the reasonable doubt. It's not a case where I sat down thinking I have no chance here.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You have heard all the evidence that you're going to hear in the case. There are 3 verdicts open to you: guilty, not guilty, and not proven. The latter 2 are both verdicts of acquittal. You cannot convict unless there are 8 of you for a guilty verdict. Trust your own recollection and your own judgment. Your verdict, whatever it is, will have consequences for someone, but you should not let these influence you. So, ladies and gentlemen, with thanks for your attention, will you now please retire to consider your verdict?
We're convinced that he's guilty, but it obviously needs to be proven in court.
It has to be proved beyond all reasonable doubt. And I would understand that for some people, there could be seen to be reasonable doubt. If he was found after all this time not guilty, I think that may be more emotional than we think it's going to be. We would still be grateful for everything that everybody did to try their best.
The stakes for my client in this particular case are extraordinarily high. If convicted, it's a death sentence.
It's a very tense moment, those few minutes when you know the jury is coming back and then the court assembles, the judge takes his position.
Court.
The jury come in, take their seats, and then there's that pause which always seemed to take forever when the clerk asks, "Are you agreed upon a verdict?"
Members of the jury, will the spokesperson please stand? Sir, can I ask you first of all, have you agreed upon a verdict?
We have.
What is your verdict in respect of the accused, Christopher Merlin Harnett Harrison, of charge 4 on the indictment?
Guilty.
Can I ask, is your verdict unanimous or by a majority?
By a majority.
Christopher Harrison, you have been found guilty of the murder of your former wife, Dr. Brenda Paige, on the 14th of July 1978. On the evidence which I've heard, your actions that night appear to have been premeditated, at least to a degree. As a result of your senseless act of violence, you brought the life of Dr. Brenda Paige to a brutal and premature end. You created a void in the lives of her mother, her sister, her nephews, and her friends, which could never be filled. Her potential as a brilliant scientist was left forever unrealized. It is clear to me that even now, almost 45 years later, the effect of your actions on the 14th of July 1978 continue to be felt. From your position at trial, I understand that you continue to deny responsibility for your actions and you show no remorse. Stand up, please. Christopher Harrison, having taken account of the whole circumstances of your case, I sentence you to life imprisonment and impose a punishment part of 20 years. That is all.
Thank you. Well done. Brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Quite an emotional thing for everyone.
Oh my word, yeah.
She was such a gentle, beautiful woman, and to have been maligned the way that she was.
Do you regret your actions, Mr. Harrison?
Hey, Mum. We've just had the verdict. And he's guilty.
Oh, what we're really big.
It really is. So he's guilty and he's been handcuffed and he's going away to prison, so.
He's got to serve a minimum of 20 years, Mum. That'll do, won't it?
Sad to be happy about such a sad event.
Yeah.
The judge gave such a brilliant tribute to Brenda at the end.
Oh, I only wish Mum and Brenda would know